And welcome everybody to episode 31 of the HOU.SEC.CON, the HOU.SEC.CON podcast. As usual, Sam and I are here together. Not usual. It's just going to be the two of us. I hope you find us interesting. Sam, how you doing, man?
I'm doing great. How are you? This wonderful, if you're listening, this wonderful Christmas day,
Yep.
right? So that's the release date for this one. Happy
Yeah, the
holidays.
audio. And if you're listening, or you're watching the video, Happy
Happy
New
New
Year.
Year.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Happy New Year. So yeah, as you can see, are here maybe, or you're about to hear. If you can't see, whatever. Sam and I are here together doing a wrap up episode of HOU.SEC Cast for 2024. So we've done a bunch of different episodes all year long of the HOU.SEC Cast, and as usual, we always during those times do a little. Here's what's coming up for HOU.SEC.CON. Here's what's coming up for HOU.SEC.CON, Exec.SEC.CON, in the user group. We're going to kind of go into what 2024 has been like, talk about some of the growth, some of the things that we've done that we think are cool, and then give you a little bit of teaser at the end about what's coming up for 2025. And what else, Sam? Anything else in there?
Yeah. I mean, I'm sure we'll have some things as we talk through this, a few other
Yeah.
things that pop up, right? So
For those who
some
don't
planned,
know,
some not so planned.
we're not very scripted on this show.
We're not very scripted.
We just kind
We're
of
not
do
very
things.
scared. And on that point, if you are listening to this on Christmas Day, then you should probably get coal in your stockings. And so let's go back to enjoy the holiday with your family and whatnot. And speaking of, how much coal did you get in your stocking, Michael?
Tons.
Yeah.
You know, Santa was. I was definitely on the naughty list this year. Absolutely, not really.
I got so much he gave me a shovel. So yeah. Yeah. Anyway.
Hey, kept me warm though. Kept me warm. Well, let's talk about stuff, Sam. So let's go into some of our before we get into the HOU.SEC.CON stuff. Let's talk about kind of our smaller yet very important conferences that we're doing. Let's talk about your baby, HOU.SEC.CON or OT.SEC.CON, depending on how you want to pronounce it.
Yeah, that was so we did our first one this year, and it was I mean, it went better than we expected, right? In terms of attendance, and I think we did close to 200 that registered, and I think we only had like 4 not show up. So that's incredible from an attrition rate. Like that's unheard of. And so super grateful for everybody that supported it. But we this was kind of a test run for us. So we had a shorter agenda. We made sure we had a lot of time for networking and such. We had, I think, it's a total of 8 speakers on 6 talks with a couple panels in there. But it was also very condensed. It was curated, not just the content. We put the agenda together ourselves to make sure that we had hit the mark on what we were trying to do with that one, because that whole conference is about bringing the cyber professionals in the oil and gas and whatever other industries, right? If you have ICS and all these security professionals getting thrown into the pit with about all this ICS stuff and they don't know, we're trying to get them up to speed, but we also want to bring all the plant folks in so they understand cyber isn't at all about, keeping you from doing your job, but can actually support. So we're trying to get these folks together. And I think that it really happened. I got a lot of good feedback from folks about how good it was for them to talk with their peers across the table. And so I'm really excited about that. And I'm excited for obviously for next year as well. But that was a fun spinoff of our HOU.SEC.CON one, which obviously the ICS track it won't go away. So basically we'll have 2 of those a year essentially, right? But just one baked into the bigger con.
Yeah, I really loved the whole feel of it. Just everybody that showed up was really. I mean, yeah, you had the initial like, okay, what is this exactly going to be about? But when they started getting the theme of it and started looking at the talks and seeing that not a IT versus OT of how does IT and OT work together? How does cyber fit into this? The it's and it's not throwing shade at any of the other conferences. All the other OT conferences out there, ICS themed conferences around cybersecurity have their place and their niche where they're, either talking about very advanced concepts, stuff's coming up down the line or whatever that may be. And I think what you wanted this to be and what it was definitely that cooperation, those real time what's happening on the ground today. How do we fix these problems today? Great feel. Everybody loved it. And again, yeah, the attendance, I was I was thrilled. I mean, I wasn't not that I didn't expect it to be successful. I just didn't think that many people would show up on the first time. So it was awesome.
Well, I mean, when you don't know and it's a first time run, you just you don't know what's going to happen. And there are these other conferences out there, and so you ask yourself, hey, can folks carve out the time to be there? And amongst all the busy lives that they have, and potentially going to other conferences. So really stoked about the turnout and really stoked about the feedback. And we're going to do more this year, right? So this next year we've got those locked down, and we're going to expand it. So and we'll talk a little bit about that later, but I was just super pleased and really appreciated all the work the sponsors, because I think we had around 13 sponsors for that one, which were very helpful and supportive. And all of those were all focused around OT to some degree or another. So that was another big part of it. We're just trying to make this an ICS thing, if you will. And it looks like it looks like that's the way we're going. And it looks like it's going well. So, but we had another one too that went really well that you really drove. And so your baby. So let's talk about HOU.SEC.CON.
Yep. Well, HOU.SEC.CON, we did it in the summer. We were trying to figure out a good time for that. A lot of people are on vacation. We're trying not to run up against, yeah, Sam was on vacation. That was,
I was on vacation. Sorry, I missed it. Yeah.
I was sorry you missed it too. I could have sworn we talked about those days. Regardless, it it's a smaller turnout, but I think that's generally to be expected because we're very focused on the executives and directors, CISOs, decision makers. Some of maybe their folks that they were looking at as mentees that they were trying to, deputies that they were trying to go up into the field and start becoming a CISO in the future or some type of executive in security. We had about 116 that registered, had almost 100 who attended. So if you've ever run an executive event, and I've been involved in many, that there's always going to be attrition because those executives are always busy. Last minute, something happened. They had a board I know of 2 or 3 specifically that had board presentations that day that were last minute. Stuff like that always happens. Our executive presentations or something like that. One person had a tabletop exercise that got set up after they had already registered, things like that. So that always happens, to be expected. But the turnout was still great. We're gonna, like Sam said, with HOU.SEC.CON, we're gonna talk about some of the plans of that in the future, but or later on here in this one. But we're gonna move that date around to where it's a little more attainable by people when they're not having to worry about vacations and stuff. But absolutely a great turnout. We did have a lot of, as you can probably expect, a lot of panels, conversation type style sessions. Absolutely had networking time for people to run around and go talk to folks, take phone calls, answer emails, all of those things. So they made sure that they had plenty of time to do their day job. I think next year we're going to keep it pretty much even kill as far as the number of people and all of those things that do one track. But we
Which,
had
by the way,
18.
you had I mean, it was a good turnout, right? I mean, it was
Oh
still a
no,
great turnout. You talked
yeah,
about attrition, but it was close to 100 people that were there.
no,
So,
I was very happy with the number of people that showed up, and the people who were there. I didn't see anybody just sitting by themselves, not being able to network. I mean, they were all networking. They were talking about things. There was a lot of discussion from the group in some of those talks as well, especially the last talk that Angelique did. There was a whole lot of discussion. So just within their groups or within the whole, during the talks themselves, a whole lot of discussion, which is what you try to get out of something like this. You're trying to help executives, CISOs, and VPs and all those figure out what other people are doing and helping them figure out how to build their programs more effectively. So very happy with the turnout. Again, we're going to do it again this year. This was an offshoot of our CXO track. So that has been in play for, I think, about 3 years now. And we're going to do the same thing with HOU.SEC.CON. We're going to have one standalone, and then we're going to have one during HOU.SEC.CON during the conference itself. that's going to stay around. Very excited about that one as well. So
Yeah.
then the
That
next
that was
big
good.
thing,
I'm gonna make next one, by the way. I'm gonna be there for the next
you're going
one.
to be
So
there. You are
I
absolutely
will.
going to be there. We made sure you were available. You cannot travel during that time. So
I have a travel stop. That's what I got.
yeah. So the next big thing we did this year, and this is something that I used to do years ago before you and I started HOU.SEC.CON, which was a user group. So we started the HSC user group, HSC meaning HOU.SEC.CON, that user group. We started that in oh gosh, it's been early part of this year. I think it was January, February. I can't remember the exact time dates that we started, but we had 9 meetings, different meetings, and we get what do you think? I think it's like 50 plus 40, 50 plus people every single time.
Every time I show up, it's a little bit more than it was the last time,
Yeah.
and so you're always looking around going, "Okay, will this room fit us next time around?" You know? So, yeah, it's been really well attended.
It really has. And again, that user group is meant to be very, very engaging. And it always is. We purposely build a discussion time in the beginning where we have 2 or 3 topics that our attendees actually put in when they register for the event. And we talk about 2 or 3 of those. We'd usually talk about something of the latest and greatest in tech, something like that. And then we get have our speaker talk. We always have a sponsor for it. We give them about 5 minutes to talk, and they're always really love the group and the energy in the group. I've personally loved the partnership, one with Chad Spensky over at Authenticate. He's the CEO over there. We've been doing this with him since the beginning. Generally, he's the MC for the event. I kind of do the housekeeping stuff, and then Chad kicks off the an MC and does the discussion. I have to take those duties over when he's not available. Love that partnership. If you need to go check Authenticate out too. They have some really cool tech. They're not a sponsor; they're just a partner. And then we have another cool partner over there in WESIS.
WES has been a supporter. We love to have them there, and they've got their booth and representation, and love to see that
Yep,
as part of our community, right?
yep,
And maybe to expand too, just for folks that don't know what the Houston user group, because you say user group and it can mean a lot of things to a lot of
yep.
people, right? You just think, hey, it's the technologies user group. It's while we call it a user group, it's really meant for everybody in the cyber community
Mhm.
that wants to get together and I mean, part of it's networking or just meeting other people and talk shop, right? I mean, that's the whole point. So there's all kinds of different things that we've done in that in terms of presentations. Like last was David Taxer with his whistleblower
Mm,
presentation, which was awesome. You know, we've had some others. You know, we've had Clint Boddingen in there before talking about his pieces of the AI and stuff, and then Hutch, of course, he came in
yep,
talked about AI. So we've had a lot of really good diverse topics across the board, and we encourage that. We want to see. And by the way, great opportunity if you're a new speaker and want to test your chops, you know, smaller group, you know, we love to see new people come in and speak. If you're worried about being in front of way too many people, and we're pretty laid back, I would say we don't allow rotten fruit in anybody's pockets when they walk in. So we frisk them for that. So, but yeah, I mean, we should have more people come, you know, that are new. We'd love to see that.
absolutely. And it's also low pressure because what we specifically say, and during my housekeeping time, is anybody except for the sponsor, they cannot sell. So you don't have anybody in there pressuring you, messing with you, trying to get you to look at their stuff. The only one that's there is the sponsor that's going to mess with you. And if they do mess with you, let us know and we'll tell them to stop. And we have a little happy hour at the end of it after, and most people we actually end up having to kick them out because we need to clean up after the happy hour. So that tells you how much people enjoy just staying there discussing different things. So
And
it's a
food.
great group.
We have food.
We have
We have
food. We
food.
always have good food. Lauren always gets really good food. So
She does.
anything from Italian to barbecue to Chinese food to pizza, really nice pizzas, all kinds of stuff. So, and we also had our holiday party. That was back just a couple of weeks ago. That was a lot of fun. We did that at Cidercade. If you don't know what that is, we'll put a link down here. But it's a really fun spot. A lot of arcade and cider. So Cidercade. And that was a lot of fun. Really good turnout for that. And we'll do that every year. That's our plan, is to do a holiday party every year and just everybody show up. And there's no discussion or anything. It's just everybody having a good time.
Hanging out, having a good time. By the way, they have beer too, so it's not just cider and or other things, right? If you're not a drinker, so that's okay too. But yeah, that was a lot of fun and good to see everybody. Just kind of hang out and chat and catch up. It's always fun.
So now we've gone through all that wrap up. This is not just a wrap up episode or a recap or however you know, because we also want to talk about stuff that's coming up in 2025.
Before we get there, can I
Yeah,
add one thing that
please,
that was
please.
super important, that what we did last year, which is super exciting, is we added Lauren to the team, right? And so that's really cool because for those that are anybody that's been following along, Michael and I do this on a voluntary basis. You and I, we do this, in our free time, which there's not a whole lot of because we have day jobs. But really having Lauren on board full time is amazing because it really helps us drive all this stuff across the board. And it's gotten to that point where Lauren is hiring somebody else, so we're growing to a bigger group, and so very excited to have her join here. Another week or so, well, she'll be on board full time, our new one. And then lastly, we would be remiss if we didn't mention Gary Leibowitz for all his sponsor wrangling and such that he's done for us. It's been a big help. And we have a lot of great sponsors that help make all this happen. And the users appreciate it. Everyone that's part of this community really appreciates it. So, having Gary be able to coordinate all that, because that's a lot. And especially with HOU.SEC.CON, it's a whole lot. So very grateful to Gary. Appreciate all his help and time he's put into it too from a volunteer, because he also has a day job. So
He does. He's got several jobs. I think he's got more than you and I do. Yeah. So yeah, Gary's been instrumental in this, but getting the new program manager, to your point, on, and her name's Mary. I'll just say that she's coming on here in the next week or so. She's going to help drive a lot of what Lauren Lauren's basically going to hand off a lot of the event planning stuff, and she's going to help us with the marketing stuff. But Lauren's still our operations VP, and again, our producer, our mental health consultant, to keep us going. So yeah, and she's shy. She doesn't want to pop up on screen, but she's behind here. Just know that she's helping us do all of this stuff. So yeah, great crew. And then we got several other people, Brian, Nicole, multiple different people that have helped us and all are helping from a volunteer perspective. Except for Lauren and Mary. They are full-time employees because we cannot do this without having some employees. So thank you for
just gotten way too big. It's gotten out of hand. So we're glad to have that support. So it's awesome.
And I mean, if you look at what we did for HOU.SEC.CON, in 2024, we had over 2,100 people show up. The year before that, we had 1,400. That growth is getting close to exponential, and we're having to really do a lot of stuff with that. But we have other initiatives that we're working on for 2025, which is why we need more people as well. So one of the big initiatives we've got coming up is HSC Media. That's going to be a separate brand. I say a separate brand, an attributed brand. HSC again stands for HOU.SEC.CON. So it's going to be our media site. We're going to be doing, generally in the beginning, all of our podcasts and all of our presentations that we record at the shows. All of those are going to be on there. We're also going to start doing some articles on there. A lot of it's going to be kind of running down what some of our talks were about, what our presenters talked about. But we're also going to start working on news and things there. So see that's going to start coming in 2025. You're going to see that as a separate brand. So because what we've found is that we've got the HOU.SEC.CON feed on LinkedIn, on X, now on Blue Sky, on wherever we're doing all of this stuff. And there's just too much to pack in with all of our podcasts and everything in one feed. So you're going to see an HSC Media brand coming out in 2025. Very excited about that. Lauren's going to be heading up all of these. She already does all the videos and stuff. She's going to be heading that up and running with that. So be on the lookout for that coming out in 2025. Got some cool partnerships and stuff going there. What's the next thing we got coming up?
Well, this one's born of also several years ago where, we saw the need for enabling our folks that attend HOU.SEC.CON to advertise that they're looking or advertise that they've got job openings. And so, and in fact, the first year I remember we took one of those big placards we had and turned it around and just put a permanent marker on it, right? Looking and here's job board and whatever. And people were putting stuff on. Now it's a station with like post-it notes and things like that. And we had those little wristbands at one point that said you were looking or not, or you were hiring, right? And so that's turning into something bigger. So that'll be the HOU.SEC.CON job board. So we'll have something in a digital format that will run all year round and not just the thing of the conference. So while it is HOU.SEC.CON branded, I see that growing outside. It doesn't have to be just what's in Houston, but across the board, and give an opportunity for employers to look for the talent that they need, and then the talent that's out there, and have them connect them with those jobs that are out there. So very excited to have that one come up as well.
Yep. That's absolutely has been a kind of a grassroots thing that we've done for a really long time. So I'm excited about that. We'll also be expanding. So if you were at HOU.SEC.CON last year, we had, for the first time ever, we've talked about it, but we haven't ever actually got it done. And we finally got it done with the help of Mario Chiak. We had our mentor spot open, a mentor track, I guess. So that was small. We just wanted to start it out again. We test things. We put up a trial balloon, see how things go. It was ridiculously popular. So we're going to expand that in 2025. Mario's going to get some help. We've had some conversations with him to get more people involved in that. I've got something going with a friend who does some stuff with college students who may want to present. There's different things we've got in play there. But look at an expansion of that mentor track in 2025. If you're new to cyber, or even if you're not, and you've been doing it for a few years, but you want to grow, however that looks for you, or if you want to help out, let us know. But we're going to be expanding the mentor track in 2025. Very excited about that. And that
If you
very
don't
much
know
goes
Mario
along with,
Chiaka, everybody knows Mario. So,
yeah,
he's supposedly retired, but he's not really. So a lot of great
he,
experience there. So if you need that, definitely sign up for it and we'll do more.
and then along those same lines, in getting people who are in the industry mentored and getting them some growth, it's always been something we've done with the Tab Cyber Foundation and other things. We've got HOU.SEC.CON coming up in
And that
2025.
one's interesting because what's interesting about HOU.SEC.CON is Arthi Vesuvedan, who we've had on the show here too, has she wrote a book, and that book, which was really geared towards basically middle school kids, so a semi-graphic novel, but a really good story about cyber and getting like a story that kids could latch onto and really inspire them to think about getting into the cyberspace. And she tells us, well, HOU.SEC.CON was the inspiration for writing the book. That's amazing. But now it's coming full circle and we're going to have HOU.SEC.CON, and she's going to lead that effort, which is very, very exciting. So hopefully in the spirit of what we have always been about, which is building the community, supporting the community, and growing it out, so we can, address the problems that we have in the field. This is a really important grassroots effort on its own.
Yep. She is so passionate about, we get on phone calls or Zooms or whatever. I'm planning this stuff out, and the amount of preparation she puts into it. She is such a just a great person, and the focus she has on the youth and bringing and keeping them safe, teaching them about this. It's absolutely amazing. I'm just awestruck every time I talk to her. So when you get to HOU.SEC.CON, we don't have all of the details yet, but generally we're going to have one day where there's going to be kids running around. This is generally going to be high school age kids, but know that they're there of their own choice. They're trying to really see what this is about. Take them seriously, give them the time of day, help them learn what you do if you interact with them. I'm really, really excited about them being there. So,
Yeah,
what
that one
else?
will be a lot of fun, and we've already connected with several other nonprofits out
Yep,
there that are gonna help support that effort, right? Get the word
absolutely.
out and help us get this make this happen because it's something new for us. And
Oh,
I guess the other piece, which you've often mentioned, Michael, and I think is important to reiterate, is we want to give these folks the feel, the vibe.
yep,
What is it being a cyber professional, right? So walking through that conference should get you excited. Like anybody that walks through, you can feel the excitement, and it's just a really good feel across the board. So having them go and learn how to pick a lock and walk by the vendor booths and see who's out there and
yep.
just kind of get an understanding what's going on. That's a great professional prep experience for them, right? That they aren't going to get anywhere else.
That's exactly right. So very excited about having that happen. Working with the youth, it definitely aligns with our mission. So excited about it. Okay, so few more things and we will let you go. But we've got HOU.SEC.CON, HOU.SEC.CON tickets are on sale right now. So go get those ASAP. If you want to be a sponsor of those events, let us know. We've already sold quite a few of those sponsorships. The room is running out, so jump on those as soon as you can. Um, we've got call for papers coming out. HOU.SEC.CON is when.
That's the entire month of January. So we'll open that up on the 1st and look for that. And we're going to curate some of those slots, and we have some really good, some good headliner speakers and folks like that, and some others specifically placed because we want to drive that content. But we still have a lot of slots to fill up. So hopefully, if you're in that space, you'll consider submitting either a technical or a strategic talk.
Yep. So we've got that. We got HOU.SEC.CON call for papers starts May 1st, all the whole month of May, right?
Whole month of May, all the way to the 31st.
All the way to the 31st. We are not doing yet anyway. Maybe we won't this year doing a CFP for HOU.SEC.CON. We curate that agenda a little bit more. I will mention one change on HOU.SEC.CON though. I forgot to mention earlier is we just had our first advisory board meeting for HOU.SEC.CON. So we got several leaders, cybersecurity leaders in the Houston community who are helping us drive that, kind of give us direction, give us some advice on which way we'd go, what's more helpful for executives, that kind of thing. So we just had that meeting. The amount of expertise in that room and experience and talent, it was just absolutely astounding. Absolutely, just was a great time, great discussion, and a lot of passion about helping the cybersecurity community in that room. So I'm very excited about that.
Yeah, and in that, you and I do a lot of the stuff we have over the years, and then you just realize at some point it makes sense to have the community that we're doing this for the community. They should have the input, and I can see us doing something very similar for HOU.SEC.CON after this year, perhaps going in the future, doing something very similar with the board driving kind of what that content needs to look like in the theme. So really appreciate those folks being part of it and giving their time for what I mean, you and I consider a very good cause, right? But it is, and so having that guidance is really good for us because there's also, let's be honest, there's things that they're going to see that we won't, doing what we do sometimes, right?
Oh, we've been doing this for so long. We've definitely got blinders on, having that outside look at it. And those are all people who have attended HOU.SEC.CON or the CXO track in the past, so they know what's there. They've attended a million events. I mean, I know one of our members has told me multiple times that he could do something like that every night and go out and be 500 pounds because he's eating so. But put special effort into wanting to get HOU.SEC.CON growing the right way. So really appreciate that. Okay,
And
one.
lastly, though, yeah,
Oh,
go
yeah.
ahead.
No, you got something.
No, I was just going to say that the user group, right? So those are,
Yep.
we're always looking for topics on the user group. That's open year round. We'll have a link in the notes, but always looking. And again, go back to what I said earlier. If you're haven't presented something yet, or you want to try something new, come talk to us. I mean, we're interested in that. Like, this is about supporting, and I know there's a lot of folks, a lot of really good, knowledgeable people out there that just haven't made that step into public speaking for a lot of good reasons, right? It's not for everybody, but if you do it in a smaller format like that, we'll certainly support and help, and love to see folks share their knowledge.
Absolutely. And I also didn't mention before, we're going to keep doing that in the Neutrality Data Center downtown. It's a great spot. We've got room to grow there. The room that it's in, we've got another spot we can go to downstairs that would be even bigger. So please just keep coming to that and keep signing up for that, because we want to get more people with those discussions.
So I have
Okay.
a question.
Yeah.
What's our theme for next year?
Our theme for 2025, HOU.SEC.CON?
Yeah, what's our theme? Drum
Space
roll.
Space Cowboy. I'm very
Space
excited
cowboy.
about this theme. Yes. I
Hey,
I don't want to give too much away, because there's going to be some cool stuff in the village and on the floor and the vendor hall. I'll say we're moving to the bigger vendor hall next year in the George R. Brown, so we're going to have plenty of room to do all kinds of cool stuff. But there's going to be some stuff there on that floor that are very Texas themed. I'm just gonna say that, but with that space cowboy feel.
we're in Texas. We got NASA right down the road, right? NASA's a big part of
Makes sense.
Houston. So, like, why not? We have a
There's
baseball team called the Space Cowboys, for crying out loud, right? They used to be called the Skeeters, which, if you're in Houston, that's probably much more appropriate of a mascot. But especially during baseball season. But the Space Cowboy thing, I think that's going to be really cool. We have a lot of good ideas around that, and I know Lauren's already got some really cool stuff baked
we
out
really
for
do.
us.
Very excited about that. That's gonna be a lot of fun. And then final thing, we've I'm not gonna give it anything away right now, but there's some really big announcements/news coming up this year at HOU.SEC.CON 2025, or next
Come
this, this
on,
year.
let's talk. Come on, let's talk about it. Come on.
How much can we go into it? I'll just say that HOU.SEC.CON is now reaching, I mean, from podcast perspective, we're reaching an international audience, but we are more national these days. So that's all I'm going to say. That's all I'm going to say. You got to come to HOU.SEC.CON to see the announcement. We're gonna tease it throughout the year, but you need to be at HOU.SEC.CON 2025.
Seems like every year we got some news to share. So,
This is
um,
the biggest yet.
no, we got to keep topping it. Before you know it, we're going to be walking out, launching this with like pyrotechnics and gosh knows what else, right? So
We'll get SpaceX there this year. How about that? Yeah.
there you go. We'll
I'll,
get
I'll I'll talk to
Elon to come out.
I'll talk to my friends at SpaceX. We'll get the Falcon 9 there or something. So no, show up, be at HOU.SEC.CON 2025, see the announcement. There's going to be some big stuff coming. So just, Sam, is that enough? Are we doing enough?
I don't know. I think we're doing enough, but um, if I could fit any more stuff into the 24 hours of the day, so I still need to get my sleep. I still happen to be married, so that's good.
I don't think
So
Lauren will let us do anymore. I don't think our spouses will let us do anymore.
that's right.
It's like, okay, we got enough on our plates, but there's a lot.
No, but it's still
And
fun. And I mean, you and I
yeah,
both we're talking to folks out in the field all the time. We got all kinds of
yeah,
great stuff coming up for respective conferences that we do and everything else. So I'm, I'm confident next year will be bigger than ever. And it'll be, we've already got some ideas on keynotes and stuff. And so it'll be, it'll be worth it. It'll be worth your time. We're going to keep doing it. It's still a lot of fun because those 2 days, while they're tiring, is all get out at the end of it. It's just so rewarding to see everybody. And even if you're not tired, even just stand on the side and watch people, like, you can see, it makes your heart full, right? It's just really cool to see everybody there and getting value out of it. So, and it doesn't feel like a conference. It feels like kind of a high school reunion, although we're getting so big. I don't know. That's one hell of a big high school, right? So
yeah, much bigger than mine in Mississippi growing up. I'll say that
there
much.
you go.
All right, man. Well, I think that's it. This has been episode 31 of HOU.SEC.Cast, HOU.SEC.CON podcast recap episode. Look for more coming 2025.
Back to the eggnog.
Back to the eggnog. Go sleep it off. All right, everybody.